Today, we're going to cover informational interviews. Also, in this session, you're going to learn about how to search in LinkedIn. And a lot of times I share some of these features on LinkedIn with students, and they go, I had no idea LinkedIn could do that. So I think this could really be a revelation to many of you. This is going to help you in a lot of other places because LinkedIn is such a tool, it's game changing. Like, finding an internal ally. If you send an application in, how can you sync up with someone in that organization who might be able to go ahead and help you prepare and give you a push? So what is an informational interview? It's a meeting with a professional. It's not a job interview. It's to learn about opportunities and viability relative to your future career. You want to learn about it. Again, this is not a job interview. Rather, it's a solicitation for help. And most people, especially seasoned people in industry, they want to help young people coming up behind them. It's best if you have something in common with that person. And we're going to show you how you can have something in common, even for someone that you don't know, you've never met. It can happen in person or it can happen virtually. It's also a platform to broaden targeted companies for you that you can go ahead and apply to your search or future searches. Job and internship searches. Expand your network. By talking to these folks, they all become part of the network, and we're going to use standard operating procedures that we learned back in the networking session. And by deploying these skills, you're going to get better at them. So skills rise with activity. So let's not be vague. If you say, well, I'm going to do some informational interviews, fine. You may end up doing few or none. So it's good to set goals. So let's talk to one of the masters on this. According to Ben Carpenter, best-selling author of the book, The Bigs, it's the finest book I've come across to date on the campus to career space. He suggests, because the job market is so competitive, and it's getting more competitive every year, that while you're in college, you should do 40 or 50 informational interviews over a 4-year period. So that's 12 a year if you go through in 4 years. And typical college semester is about 15 weeks. So you'd be targeting about 6 a semester, 1 every other week. Now that's a sizable commitment. Will most people do this? Let me see. No! And that's great, because then you're more equipped, you're more formidable, and you've built more advantage than people to your left and right. And again, your skills keep rising. You get better and better at pitching yourself, asking questions, being comfortable approaching people you don't know. All these skills become more terrific as you use them. So who do you target for informational interviews? It could be someone who works at a company that you might be interested in. It might be in an industry segment that you see yourself in potentially. It might be interesting people that they just impress you because of their success, and you feel you could learn a lot from them. It's a role where you could see yourself, maybe, I don't care if it's a teacher, business person, social worker, jobs maybe in professional sports, a manager or director in healthcare, anything can all be targets for informational interviews to learn more. Some of these targets come from people you know, and some of them come from your network, and others come from LinkedIn, and you don't even know these people. So I want to introduce you to a really powerful dimension of LinkedIn. It's called alumni pages or alumni search. Now, LinkedIn is always changing. I went the other day and I looked for the button and where is it? Okay, and I had to look for a little bit because they're always making changes and trying to make LinkedIn better. This is easier to do all of this from a laptop than, say, your smartphone. And I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that a little bit for you so you get a feel for this. You also can get supporting YouTube videos on how to, all sorts of stuff out there. Okay, this is a demo. So we're going to blur faces and names so we don't go ahead and use somebody's likenesses without their permission. But it's going to show you how to work this incredible, valuable tool. So type in your college name, and you're looking for the college main page. It's usually listed by school, and you want to go ahead and get the main one. You could have like another one, the school name, and then College of Business. You could have another one that says a student organization. So, just look for the main page. And I'm going to use Ohio University today as an example. Again, the main page. And when I get there, take a look what LinkedIn reveals to me. There's over 170,000 alums on LinkedIn. I got something in common. If I'm going there now and they went there, wow, that gives me a basis of really approaching them. So you select alumni, and now you can sort through them. But it's better than that, because you can adjust these filters. And you can scroll to the right, and you usually a couple on a laptop, and then you scroll to the right and see more. But you can sort by where they live, where they work, what they do, what they studied, what they're skilled at, and how you're connected. And you can use multiple features. So you pick an organization that you like or you have interest in. Then you look at your area ambition and say you want to get into, just by way of example, I want to get into information technology, but I'm looking for it in the Chicago area, and maybe even have a company name. You can put all of those filters in, and it will show you in that list of 170,000 plus how many people are in LinkedIn that you could potentially approach. So just for fun, I went ahead and took a look and did some discovery and said, okay, how about if I wanted to get into Disney? Great organization. They have over 1,000 alums for if you went to Ohio University. Social workers, almost 2,500 alums. Teachers, nearly 16,000. Nurses, nearly 1,000. Broadcasting, over 2,000. So this is a rich reservoir for you to go ahead and mine activity in. You want to use it. Then you browse through them, and you're looking for people that you can relate to. These might be people who are further down the career. Maybe they're in their career for 15 or 20 years, or it could be somebody that they've only been there for a couple of years. So you can identify with them, and they had relevant experience of getting in and getting started. So there's lessons to be learned by all. View their employment history. So if you type in Disney and scroll down and view all the people, and then you can click on it and see all the jobs they've had. Well, they did this, then they moved up, and then they did this. And wow, that's interesting. That gives you the basis of approaching somebody. So we call that progression, one job after another, their career journey. So you view that. Again, we're blurring out the names and the images to protect the privacy, but you get the idea how this works. And you find some that you can learn from. And then how do you contact them? You don't have their contact information. Well, you send them an in-mail. An in-mail, that's LinkedIn internal email function. So you don't have to have their email address if you wanted to reach out. Through in-mail, that will get you to that person. And then you want to request a meeting. Hello, I'm Alan McMillan. I'm currently enrolled at Ohio University. I know you went here. I'm viewing your career, and it's very, very impressive. I was wondering if I could arrange for a meeting where I can get some advice on how I can position and prepare myself to walk in a path as exciting as yours. I'd really appreciate connecting with you. And then how will you put that in an email? If you want some help of fashioning that email, how will you get more specific? And I just role played that with you. Well, that's pretty simple, because if you Google informational interview invite samples or something to that effect, there are thousands online that you can review. And you find one you like, or you find maybe three, and you like this part of this one and this part of this one, and you start to go ahead and put that into a letter that you're going to use with your approach as you reach out to other people. Again, you're going to use this more than once, so make it great. Put some time into this. And then what do you say when you get the interview? I mean, you asked them for some time. You want to be impressive through your questions. Well, again, go to Google and you're going to look for informational interview questions. Again, there's thousands of them. Go through those and fashion your own. These need to be more specific to what you're looking for, and you can adjust that cover letter, but it gives you a great basis. As always, when you get an interview, follow up with a thank you. Just because you did it on the phone and it was an informational interview, that is as significant as you had a meeting in their office and spent an afternoon with them. You want to use networking standard operating procedure that we covered. That puts the new contacts in your repository and on LinkedIn. And then you can, when appropriate, move those to Job Search Radar if they can help you in your search. When you reach out to your peers and your contacts, these people often are on that list. So in summary, let's go through what you need to do. Number one, you want to go ahead and set a goal for informational interviews per semester. Set something realistic, be committed to make it happen. 2, you're going to have to reach out to 2 to 3 times, maybe 4 times that number of people that you're going to approach in order to get maybe those 6 informational interviews every semester. Number 3, you Google informational interview invites and craft yours. Number 4, you're going to Google interview questions, informational interview questions, and you want to craft yours. 5, begin reaching out. This is going to get exciting. 6, you put them in Job Search Radar and your repository so you can leverage them in my job search or my internship search. 7, you're going to go ahead and engage. And when you do, the richness of this, in the beginning, you might be a little shaky. Towards the end, you're going to be a master. Number 8, you tie down with a thank you after the session. So let's say you did 6 a semester. Other than maybe getting that internship or that job, what would you get? Well, it certainly build your confidence. You used all these skills that are tremendous job search skills, and you really bettered yourself. So it's going to go ahead and build your confidence. You're also going to gain expertise and knowledge in your field. You might all of a sudden, out of the blue, get a lead for a great job in another company, but you had maybe 2 or 3 informational interviews from other companies, but you learned enough about the industry that when you show up to that new opportunity for an interview or a phone screen, you're at a different level because you know so much about the industry because you invested the time in informational interviews. It also gives you a chance to polish your pitch and your verbal skills. And you validate, yes or no, do I want to move in that direction? Perhaps in that industry, with that company or 2. And then you're going to expand your network. And listen, along the way, you're going to generate job and internship leads. But again, you're going to ask for help and not ask for a job when you're getting this process started. You're also going to become more formidable in the market because of what you learned. And you're going to become great at job search itself. Finally, as Ben Carpenter says in The Bigs, I'm quoting here, the more people you talk to, the stronger job candidate you will be. And boy, that's true. Go ahead and earn some advantage out there. Go ahead and develop these skills and be great. And you can do this. I'll see you next time.